Okay, can you hear me, Sage? I can hear you. I mean, I can't hear you, but it says live. Hello. Okay. All right. So Sage is silent and I'm speaking. I have the floor. So I'm Jen Duchene. I'm introducing myself. I am the world diviner and healer. I do Akashic record work. I teach and I heal. I take people into the Akashic records, teach them how to find out more about themselves so they can truly stand in the power of being free as souls. I'm also an astronumerologist. So my focus is to help people recognize the truth of who they are. And we have our history, many lifetimes, soul lifetimes of being having experiences that have brought us to this place but have affected the truth of our journey. So we have vows that we have made. We have blocks and resistance that have created a lot of our fears that stop us from becoming who we truly are, seeing our divine nature. And that's the work I do. I believe that we are powerful beings and that we have the right to all be powerful together. And I have this amazing tool, the Akashic Records, that I go into, which is the records of your soul, your secret book. Some people call it the book of life. It is called the Akasha, which is the ethers. That means that all this amazing knowledge is held in the ethers, and that we have access to it. So for thousands of years, that access has been taken away from us, and we are very fortunate it has been brought back to us. So the vibration, which is very high, has been lowered so that ordinary mortals that are not ordinary, of course, we're all divine beings, have been given access once again to tap into this vast record. So everyone has their own records, the records of everything that's ever happened to you. Everything has a record, so it's not just people that have records. Buildings, crystals, pets, everything has a record. And there is, of course, the record stretches back over all of our lifetimes, all of our existence, and of course goes into the future. But we do not really get information about the future because nothing is set in stone. That's the truth. However, we can certainly go to the past and change or kind of deflate or change the experience of the past or our cellular memory, and then come back into the present time so we are changed. So even though we say we're destroying what has happened, that energy is not destroyed. It is still available to us, and it is actually goes back into source. So it's been recycled, right? It's gone into the wash. So we haven't lost any energy. It's just been recycled. So there's more good energy in the world. So what am I talking about now? Sage, are you there? You can't hear me? You're not on the call? Okay, well, so now I'm supposed to be talking to you. So what I'm going to do while we're waiting for Sage to come alive and present is, you know, one of the key things about having access to the Akashic Records, to having this access to your own record keepers. Every one of us has our own record keepers. We have this connection that we can tap into. A lot of us use our intuition, and that's one level. Some of us use angels, guides, etc., who actually connect to the Akashic Records, which is known as the information arm of God. It is a place that is held in unconditional love. So your record keepers, and each one of us has our own record keepers that have never been human. And why is that important? It's important because they have no agenda. They are here to hold you in the space of love and to help you come into the fullness of who you are. In this lifetime, you have chosen a path, you have made contracts. However, we do have contracts and vows that can stop us from being who we are as well. So that's all part of the journey. So part of this all is that we are here. Of course, we're spiritual beings, but the truth is we need to be physical beings, right? We're in a physical body. So to learn to be complete in your physical body is an essential part of actually manifesting. We cannot manifest unless we're in our physical body. So and here's the fabulous Sage.
And can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh my goodness. This is so bizarre because I've never had this much trouble getting into a webinar in my life, and apparently the people who are on the call needed to see you first and to hear you first. let me actually tell them a little bit about who you are and who this has been that's been talking to them. First of all, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for showing up. Yes. Jen is going to open up the records of Victoria Buckman on the call today, and she may call in a moment, but we can open up her records even if she's not speaking with us. But I would like to make sure that she's on the call, because we don't want to do that unless Victoria is present to hear what the records have to say. You are actually present for the School for Wizards Free School, which is a free webinar that happens every other Tuesday, in which some cases I do them by myself, and in other cases, like today, I have an incredibly special guest, someone who is very near and dear to my heart, Jen Duchene. And Jen helps determined souls, helps give the determined souls the freedom to craft their own personal version of royal, joyful, soulful success on their own terms. Now, she had 30 years of success as an interior designer, speaker, and best-selling author. And she crossed this invisible barrier of self-awareness to step into her true royal nature, to work with the sacred interior space inside of all of us. Now, she is currently embracing her lifelong passion and intuitive gifts. She is a royal diviner and healer, and she offers her clients a rare mastery of both astronumerology, and she's done this with me before, and wowie kazowie, it's amazing, and Akashic healing. Through this powerful blend of ancient wisdom Jen keeps your clients on the fast track to healing and to heal and change lifelong patterns that don't serve you. And this gives people the freedom and tools to create an action plan for success in their business, their personal lives, and really on their own terms. And I have seen Jen in action, and I have experienced this. So, wow, what an amazing experience. And I'm actually going to switch myself over. Can you see me on the screen now? Just
yes.
asking Jen.
Yes.
Right, you can see me.
I can see you. Yes.
And so what I'm gonna just tell folks what we're gonna do today. It's going to be a little bit of an interview format, and I have some questions that I'm going to ask Jen about the Akashic Records, because when I first started working with her, I was unaware of what the Akashic Records were or how they might be accessed. And Jen did a session with me on Friday that just blew my socks off. It was one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had in terms of healing. It was like the highest level, highest vibration ever. And there were these periods of silence in which, you know, I could actually feel something happening on the etheric plane. It was just like bits were being mashed around and twisted, and like, wow, this stuff was really going on, even though there was total silence on the line. So get ready for that level of healing. And Jen has offered to open up the records of the group of us who are here on the call today, as well as to open up the record, the Akashic record of a person. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Because we got started a little bit late, we're probably going to go a little bit late today, because I want to have everybody have an experience of Jen, and to let this work that is work of depth sink in. So, Jen, did you want to do your prayer for us now, or did you want to do that right before you open the record for the group?
Which prayer are you talking about? The opening prayer?
I'm talking about the prayer that you downloaded for the Wizards, which I'm really super grateful that you did. But I just didn't know when you wanted to do that prayer, if it was like a beginning of the work that we're doing today, or if you wanted to do that right before you did a record.
Let's do it now. And I'm going to read it from my email, because I don't know it off by heart. I just downloaded it last night. So let me just go to my...
Back over to you.
And all right, so one of the wonderful things about the Akashic Records is you can actually access all kinds of information. You can access prayers, you can access methods, you can write books, you can find out what you need to do for your business, next steps. It's an amazing resource. You can recall some of the energy from your past, as well as create things like this special prayer that I actually downloaded for the Wizard School. So I'm just going to read it to you. And, you know, like any prayer, just allow it to open your heart and allow it to enter your heart. I was saying that one of the things you really need when we're doing this work, or any work from your soul, is to be grounded. So I'm just going to ask you all to take a breath in. And feel your feet on the ground, and just breathe out, releasing whatever it is you no longer need. And then once more, just breathing in earth and source energy through your heart, through your lungs, and let it travel into the belly of your body, just relaxing and revitalizing all your cells, your nerves, your bones. And then breathing out, letting go of whatever it is you're holding in your body. And then I'm going to invite you all to open the crowns of your head and draw your spirit fully into your body, so you're completely present, allowing your spirit to actually travel down into the body, all the way down to your feet. When the spirit and body are together, you're a powerful manifester. just dropping that tailbone all the way down into the earth and wrapping itself around our core crystal, that is Mother Earth, Gaia, so she can keep us grounded and safe. And I'll just drop some cords down from the arches of your feet way down into the center to the earth, just gripping the soil and creating this wonderful tripod, grounding, so you're fully present and grounded. And now I'm going to read this prayer as I ask you all to open your hearts and allow this energy to come into your heart, because we actually manifest through our through love. We manifest through our hearts. So it's quite beautiful when we combine that with the head and our third chakra, our body, right? The intuition, the power source. Mother, Father, Goddess, God, Heavenly Wizards, help me to focus with clarity as I initiate this manifesto in sacred magic today, for my highest good and the highest good of all. Please open my golden eye and heart circlet to know and express the truth and integrity of my soul. Give me the courage and steadiness to step fully into aligned visibility and purpose, to activate my divine wizard skills with grace and ease. And so it is. Amen.
Wow. Wow. Started webinar. I am so pleased that you're here. And to start off, and I just want to remind everyone that we're going to go a little bit over what we usually do in this webinar, because that's let's start. Be available for all of you. And I want to just ask a couple of questions to get us started before you open any records for us. And that is, the first question is, what kind of things can be accessed in the Akashic Records? Because when we hear Akashic Records, we're like, oh, there's a special thing, and I don't actually know. I've got a little bit better sense now, but can you just give us a brief explanation about what the kind of information that we access from the Akashic Records?
I'm having a hard time hearing you. Losing yourself. Stage. So you wanted to know more about what the Akashic Records is? Or?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I talked a little bit about it before, but the Akashic Records is this immense, vast energy that is in the ethers. And when you think about ether, that is energy, that is electrified energy. So really is kind of tapping into this source book of immense knowledge and knowing. It is the connection that we have to our divine beings, to our divine nature, to the greater source that we call God, whatever that is to you. It allows us to understand how really divine we are, because we see a much bigger picture. It shows us the history of who we are as a human race, as races that have been from other planets, other galaxies, that we're all here as mixed beings, and we've come here, we've actually chosen to come here at this time for a very special reason. Now, the Akashic Records I mentioned is a very high vibration that was taken away from us when it was abused about 2,000 years ago, and it gave us the access to magic, to tapping into information and knowledge, and really being at one with our divinity, and this energy coming back to us is a recognition that we are shifting into a new age. This time we've chosen to come back to is a time where we are moving into this golden age, that we need to be aware of who we are. And so the Akashic Records is actually allowing us to recognize our greatness and our wisdom, and allowing us to tap into this great library where we can ask these questions, we can release pain and suffering. We've agreed to certain things that are all recorded in this record that we can now go in and ask, how can I remove that? And what's really interesting about the Akashic Records is that it is operated by your questions, right? So it's a vast body of knowledge, but it doesn't just give you knowledge. You have to be able to ask the question. It means you're ready. Just like any spiritual energy, or when you're doing magic, you're actually calling in an energy, you're asking for this divine help, right? Divine guidance. And that's what the Akashic Records does for us.
So when you say the oh, sorry, there's a little bit of an echo. I don't know that I can fix that. When you say that it's all about the questions, can we ask questions about ourselves and about others, or is this just the use of the records is mainly to find out what our blocks, our stumbling blocks in our lives are, and our own how do you say it? Our own agreements that we've made, that carry over from lifetime to lifetime. I'm really fascinated by that concept of agreements that carry over.
Yes, it is quite a fascinating thing. And, we have agreements, we have vows, we have conditions we've made, some of them thousands of years ago, which are still in effect. We also have gifts we can bring back from the past. But that's a really good question. See, the thing about the Akashic Records, as most of these things that are helping us have spiritual growth, is that it is only for our purpose, right? We cannot go into someone else's record without their permission. We certainly cannot ask questions about other people and try to manipulate them. This is, if you do those things, you will lose the ability to go into the records. You will be shut out of the records. So it is really important to do this with integrity. The whole idea is to help yourself, and if you want to change the world or what's happening to you in the world, the only way to really do it is by asking the questions about yourself. What can I know about me? What do I need to know at this point? And it's really like excavating. It's like a dig. You don't just dive in, and some people say, oh, just clear everything I've ever done, all my contracts. Of course, they're never going to do that, because they want you to have the soul growth. And in that thing of just kind of excavating everything, you can actually lose things that are very powerful that you need, right? So the experiences we've had have actually helped us to create the souls we are now. We don't want to take those experiences away, right? We just want to understand why we did it and release the fears and blocks and contracts that have kind of kept us prisoner and stopped us from going forward.
So one of the questions that that I've asked, and I know others have asked, is about the past, because I have an opinion about time, in that I believe that we are in an artificial representation of time, and that the past and present and future are actually combined, but because of who we are on the planet, we have to perceive them all at the same time. So the question then becomes, well, can you change the past? Can I actually change what has happened to me? And there's more I could say, but I'm just going to leave it there to see what what your answer is to that.
Okay, so yes, we have timelines are all at the same time. Everything's happening. In fact, we can be in more than one dimension at the same time. Many of us actually travel at night and work and do other things at night that are part of our soul contracts. So we're not just one-dimensional or three-dimensional humans. We have all this other stuff, five-dimensional, fifth-dimensional stuff going on. And that said, we can change the past, because right now our cellular memory is dependent on the journey we have taken and what we call our past, right? So this journey we're on has actually conditioned our cells, and so we have a we have our soul history, right? And we have our soul family kind of, ancestry, as well as our ancestral history. So we have many lines that cross one another, right, for different reasons. And this particular lifetime, we have come here to work on a certain thing. So we choose, as we come in, we choose what we want to work on, what we want to experience in order to break those patterns that have kept us stuck, right? Or to change our karma or whatever, right? Release, clear karma. So going back in the past and actually recognizing why we did something, and then releasing the pain and trauma. This is what we're doing, right? We're not changing the events. We're releasing the pain and trauma, so we're not afraid to be who we are, right? Does that make sense?
It does, and it actually makes me want to ask you about questions, because you mentioned some things at the beginning of our conversation around the quality of questions that you can ask, and what are good questions and what are bad questions. And I was wondering if you could just give us, right before we open Sandra and or Victoria's records, I want to ask, what is a good question to ask, right? Because you're going to be opening some records here, and it would be nice to understand, especially for them, what kind of question is the right kind of question to ask of the Akashic Records?
Well, the thing is, it's just like when you go to a library. Like, a lot of people will ask these very vague, open-ended questions. What's my soul path? Something like that, which is, of course, it's fascinating to us as humans, but for the Akashic beings of light, they're not human, so they don't see, like what's my job or something like that. So they may say something like, oh, you're here to bring joy, or you're here to bring a new way of doing something. So it can be very big and unsatisfying. So the clearer and the more focused the question, the better the answer, right? It's just like when you go to the library. If you go to the librarian and you say, give me every book on the stars, or tell me about stars, like, what are they going to tell you? Like, well, what do you want to know about stars, right? And so they will, even as I am channeling for people, they will actually, the keepers will tell me, we need something more specific, or tell us what. Because as an Akashic reader, I'm not psychic, right? I'm not tapping into people's minds, right? I'm in a very high vibration, so I'm actually channeling information from the records. So you've got to tell me what you want to know. Like, some people are very secretive and they don't want to tell me what's happening. Well, I can't give you a very good answer, right? It's going to be a general answer if you're giving a general question. The other thing is, if you ask yes or no questions, like, when is the love of my life, or is some man going to come in my life? Like, when's a man going to come in my life, right? People ask questions like that. Like, I don't know, don't you want to know if that man or job or whatever is, is the right one? Is there any karma or contracts attached to it? Is there something else I can know about it? You can even ask them, like, what is the right question to ask, right? So I'm giving kind of these general things, but when they give you information, you can then go and ask them, well, tell me more about that. Or is there something I'm not seeing? Or is there something that, my ego is preventing me from seeing? Or, you know, you can just keep going deeper and deeper, because like I said, as you're kind of looking, if you were doing a excavation, right? People that are archaeologists, they have like little brushes and they have little things. So they have tools so they can really tap into the richness of the questions. And, you know, for me as well, the questions are for the people is to really understand who we are. Like we come in, sometimes we don't want to hear about the things we need to shift, right? We just want to hear happy answers, or which a lot of times they can be, or not, right? But you have to be open to whatever comes up.
Got it. So here's something that I want to ask. Actually, what I want to do is both Victoria and Sandra are on the line.
Yeah.
And I want them, because we can't hear them because they're muted, but we can see them in a tiny little screen. And so I want you both to just shake your head yes or no if you're ready to proceed, knowing that you'll have to ask a question that you won't be able to be secret about. You know, you're going to have to ask a question that, you know, that everyone will know that you're asking. So you can do this or this. Sandra's like, you know, yes and no.
Well, and the truth is, you can have questions that are, you know, they don't have to be deep questions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask questions like, what's blocking me right now? Or they can be like, why do I feel this way about certain things? Or why does this keep happening to me? You know, there's a lot of things we do, it's patterns that are actually in ourselves that we can ask questions about, right?
Okay, so I'm just going to ask that both Sandra and Victoria be courageous, and I'm going to actually ask you, Jen, if you're willing to open records for two people for a brief amount of time on the call, or if we need to decide on one.
That's fine. I can do that. You know, I'm not. We won't go into any healing really, unless there's something really simple.
We won't go into any real detail, but I just want to get a sense of like how this is, and I would love to hear what happens. So Sandra, I see you're unmuted now, and I'm wondering if you can tell us what your question is.
Well, basically my question is, of course, you know, relationships. I've had, you know, like I'm 48, still single, and you know, I just seem to go through patterns, and I really feel like it has like past life connections, and I want to not be that way anymore, and I want to get past that and break through it, and I'm not quite sure, you know, which way to go, what I'm supposed to do. Kind of at a crossroads in my life, so I was hoping that I could get some guidance from the records. That makes sense.
Great. Yes. Thanks, Sandra. And you should have an email that has Sandra's full legal name on it, Jen. If not,
my birth name was Jody Elizabeth.
I don't need your birth name. I need your full legal name right now.
Right now, Sandra Maria Chambers.
Okay. Okay, so you're sitting with your feet on the ground, touching the ground.
Well, my chair's kind of high, but I can stand.
Okay. Okay. All right. And you know, uncrossed arms and legs. And the reason why I ask you for that is because you're an open channel, right? Because I'm connecting to your keepers. What I'm going to do is just take some time to just open your records. You can just relax and kind of open your heart. I won't take you through the whole thing because we did a little bit of grounding. Do you feel grounded?
Oh, yeah. All
right. So let me just say the prayer, and then today. Okay, so your records are now open. How are you feeling?
Hot.
That's all good. So you can ask me the question that you were going to ask.
I want to know how I am to change, so I'm not like I was. I feel like I was placed with a curse over me. Like I don't know how to explain it. More like I feel like like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I'm trying to. Sorry if that came out there.
That's okay.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
I
I
feel
can
like
help
I
you a little
don't
bit.
have a right to connect. That's how I feel. If that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So the question you want to ask is that, do you want to know what's blocking you? You know, do you want to know if that's true, that there's something there that you don't have a right, or do you want to know why you have it? Like, what exactly is the thing you're seeking right now?
I would kind of like to know why I am like I am. And why is it so difficult for me to have a healthy relationship? You know, I feel like I try, but then it doesn't work out. And I know I read oracle cards, and I really hate it when people ask me relationship questions because it's so hard to put it down. But it's almost like I'm not worthy enough. That makes sense.
Okay.
If something is going good, I will wreck it because it's like I have a contract. I feel like I have a contract that I'm supposed to be single because that's the only way I'm going to fulfill my life purpose. And I feel in my heart that's not really right, but there's something that drives me.
So you want to know what's preventing you from having a relationship with a partner. Is that the question?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right, so let me it's going to take me a few minutes. Let me just see what they're saying. So the picture they're showing me actually is like this big, like a big rock, right? It's like you have a big rock. It's like your heart is, you know, your heart is a cave and there's a big rock in front of your heart, basically, like a giant boulder. And they're saying that this is connected to past lives, right? Past lives, but it's also connected to the belief system you are recreating, right? So every time you say that this is true, or you reinforce that truth, right? So they want you to imagine or think about what it would be like if you didn't have that idea that somehow you're blocked from having what you want. You know, do you really want this? Do you really want to have a relationship with someone? Because it feels like there's a lot of fear there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's kind of what it gets to a point where I start to get close, and then that fear comes up again. And it just always felt like it was like I'm not supposed to, I'm not allowed to, I'm not worthy enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have to have permission.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it makes sense, right? But the question then becomes, you know, what's creating the fear, right? What's stopping you? Because to get to that place of actually having a relationship with someone, you actually must desire it, right? And when you have something in the way, it can prevent you from desiring it, right? So it's not a wrong, there's no judgment around it, right? It's just about clarification. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let me just see what they're saying about this. Okay, so they're telling me that part of this is from your childhood. You have had childhood beliefs, and some of it is kind of, you know, family beliefs, but also when you were in your childhood, you were told it's like your heart was shut down. So when you were trying to be, and they tell me you're a very loving person, so you were trying to be loving and you were rejected, right? So it felt like, here I'm making an offer for my love, and we make love as children to in the sense of we give that love to someone, right? It's our gift. And when it's rejected, we take it very personally, of course, right? It's very painful. So does that resonate with you?
Yes. Yeah, made me almost cry.
Yeah. So that's a big part of this. They're just going to do a little bit of clearing with that. I can't do the full clearing because we're on a short time frame, but they are going to release some of that old fear around expressing who you are or feeling unworthy. And I'm also going to ask them if there's something else from a past life that. They're telling me there are some past lives that are linked to being unworthy or being rejected. And this is one of the things you have actually come to kind of solve or clear, right? So your idea that you can't do the things you're supposed to do because if you have a relationship is not true, right? It's not your soul truth, right? It's an egoic truth. Okay, make sense?
Right. Yeah.
It's a good cover up. Like, okay, I can't do it, so because I'm not meant to, right? And just that awareness can help you to question. When that question comes up or that response, you can push back, right? You can have your soul purpose, you can have the work you're here to do, and you can be a loving human being that receives love from others by giving love, by opening your heart. So they're showing me the lifetime when you were so it looks like this particular lifetime they're showing me is a lifetime when you actually were killed for no, it wasn't it was a kind of a very kind of a messy kind of, it's a big, you were killed with a big sword. So it's not a very pleasant way to die. For kind of like this, you were offering love and that was what you got in return. So it's left this huge energy of, wow, I can offer my gift of love and I get killed, right?
Okay.
I get killed for it. Right?
Yeah.
So does that resonate?
Know exactly which past life you're referring to. Yes, I just had that memory come up a couple months ago. So
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to release some of that old stuff. All right. So just cleared up some of that. There was some kind of curse there that we actually dissolved, so it should feel better, right? I don't know if you felt anything.
I heat going up my back. It was like all hot here, and then it slowly moved up, and then it went cool. I feel that.
Yeah, very cool. So we're just filling you up now with the highest and best energy your body can now hold. It's bringing you back into the present moment. And being showered with love, so you can feel that opening, helping your heart to open.
Thank you very much.
So welcome. All right. So I'm just going to close your records. Does that feel better?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Amazing that you got that same pathway. I mean, that you brought it up now, that one.
Yeah. That's the power of the records, right? Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Yes, they're amazing. And you know, they're telling me to tell you, you know, the lightness, the power of lightness, right? You know, allow that belief, that lightness to filter into your heart, right? Allow the goldenness of love to open your heart and soften. So. Okay, so I'm just going to close your records, close and lock them. We've got to make sure we lock the records so you're not in there. Thank you, dear Lords, Masters, Teachers of the Akashic Records, the unconditional love, wisdom, information, and healing we've received today. Please help us to return fully into our complete human wholeness in all dimensions, times, and planes. Please help us to integrate the information and healing received with ease. I ask you to close and lock the records of Sandra and our chambers for now, and so it is. Okay, your records are closed.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jen Duchene. And we are going to open up Victoria's records as well, but I think this would be a good time to, just because I know people are going to want more of you, and not everybody who wanted their records opened could actually get them opened on the call. And and I know that people might want more of you. I certainly do. And I'm wondering if you could tell people how to reach you. And I'll tell them again at the end of the call, but I want to just make sure that that information gets out to people now.
Okay, so they can reach me in a couple of ways. One is they can email me, jen@jenduchene.com. They can also go onto my website, jenduchene.com, and there is actually a place they can sign up for a 20-minute free session, or they can send me a note, sign up for my email, whatever they want to do. So it's available on my website, or they can find me on Facebook, Illuminate8, and I post daily postings about the numbers and the energies. So those are the 3 ways they can find me.
And that's Illuminate and the numeral 8, or EAGHT?
The numeral 8. Illuminate 8.
Facebook, and then jenduchene.com is the website.
Yes. And my
okay, great.
email.
I've put that.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right.
And your email is
Jen@jenduchene.com.
And so if you want to reach Jen, this is the way to do it. And so do you have it in you to open one more record, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Did you have any other questions before, or you just want to go into?
I guess the final question I have is that I wanted to just say what an amazing thing that happened to me when you opened my records and worked on them. You know, there was a block, a big block that had been around for a long time that was like instantly cleared, and I felt like my whole life, you know, just suddenly, it wasn't like I turned left in the road or right in the road, but it was like all of a sudden the way forward was clear. You know, there was like a clarity that I had never experienced before that was suddenly present with me, and I was, you know, even though I'm a wizard and I deal with the invisible world all the time, you know, I really was surprised at how powerfully I could feel the work when you were actually doing things in the records. Um, and I just wanted to say how powerful that was, and also just to remind all the wizards on the call that like a lot of research was done in this area at the turn of the 20th century, like from the 1850s to 1900 or about 1920 or 1930. There was an enormous amount of research that was on record that just got shut down by the scientific community, and there was a whole vocabulary of receiving information at a distance that was not from a person. And Frederick Myers, who did research at the end of the 19th century, had a word for it that I can't remember. It started with tele, but it wasn't telepathy because telepathy is from person to person. It was tele that indicated that someone was receiving information from a distance. And there's a lot of proof that this, you know, that was research that was done and proof that there was the possibility of receiving information at a distance. And I think the world finally in the 21st century is ready to actually have witness and to bear witness to the actuality of receiving information at a distance like we can do with the Akashic Records. So I just want to honor you for doing this work for us. It's really amazing work. And I will let you go ahead and speak to Victoria, and I'm going to turn Victoria's screen on. Oh, there we go. And I think, can we see Victoria now? There she is.
Yes, yes. And just, yeah.
I wanted to share one thing before you start.
Yes.
That I watched this show on the History Channel, and it's called Ancient Aliens. And I actually had a show last Friday all about how in 1952 the government brought in all of these different people who were able to access the Akashic Records, and they had all these government officials that sat around asking questions about how to go forward with the world and this and that. And it was really interesting and funny how we never hear about those kind of things. I wanted to share that.
That's awesome, and we will hear more about it. I did want to mention, before we go into your records, Victoria, that when we're in the presence, I did open the group's record before we got on, just because it's easier. So your records, you know, the group records are open, not individually. However, as we're doing this work, you know, the work that I did with Sandra, or just being here in the presence with the Akashic Records open, we're all helping bring that vibration to the earth. So we're actually healing, and they're actually doing a bunch of healing right now. So all of you are benefiting from that as well. So don't think that because your records weren't read that you're not getting healing, because you are. The record keepers love to bring this energy to the earth and to help us, right? They love us and they want to guide us to the greatness of who we are, to help us tap into our divine natures. So just wanted to share that. It's very powerful, right? Edgar Cayce, he was the sleeping prophet. In the days when he did it, he had to go into a trance. Now we can do this with our eyes open, just using a prayer. It's quite incredible, the distance we've traveled in these few short years. Okay, so, and thank you. Thank you, Sage, for your beautiful words. I am very privileged to do this work. Believe me, every day I give thanks that I can do this work, because it is so amazing to be in this energy. and to have this vibration in my life, and to recognize that a lot of things we spend a lot of time on worrying about in the bigger picture is so it has its own place. Everything has its own place, and it allows us to truly live in that place. That we are expanded. Our souls are expanded. Our human shape is expanded by this idea of knowing that we have choices every single day, and it doesn't matter which choice we make. That as long as we make that choice, we need to own it and accept that other people are making the choices they want. Like, we cannot force other people to do things they don't want to do. We can't go around healing people that don't want to be healed. We've got to wait for them to ask. That's why questions are so important, because we ask at the place we are, right? That's how we know where we are, by the questions we ask. And when you can recognize that your soul has a bigger plan, that the earth has a bigger plan, and it's not just about why doesn't somebody agree with me, it's about you standing in your power. That's what the Akashic Records does for you. It gives you the ability to truly stand in your power and strip away all the old bullshit. Hope it's okay if I say bullshit.
Yeah. I can't pass it either.
And my mandate is to help people. This is one of the mandates I signed up for, is to help people understand that what we have to do is to ground ourselves in this body we're in so that we can fly, right? When we're grounded, when we know who we are at our most powerful. Because then we don't have to prove anything to anyone else. We don't have to convince anyone of anything. We can just be who we are. And in that space, we can fly. So no matter what happens, we will continue. We will be grounded. We will have the strength and the fortitude to be the great souls we are. So, on that note, Victoria, I have your name here, I think, in my email. Let me just get it. Okay. I'm just going to, you're grounded, you look grounded, you feel connected. So we're just going to go ahead and open your records. Okay, Victoria, your records are open. How are you doing?
Very good. Well, my question?
Yes, I'm ready.
So I am ready to do the work that wants to come through me out into the world, and I know that it is going to be something very large. I have to be very visible and large. And I feel like this situation that happened to me in the past, that I've done a lot of clearing on, I still feel like there's something lingering. And it was the situation where my financial advisor stole my whole entire life savings. So my question is, what is there? I don't feel like it's a boulder covering the cave, but there's definitely, it's not a free-flowing path forward like Sage said. So what else is there for me to know, to learn here, so that I can take work out into the world that I'm meant to do? And since that, previous to that event, I could make lots of money very easily. After that event, it has been different.
Okay, so the thing they're telling me right now, I have an echo, so is, okay, so that moment when that happened, this, this kind of plunged you into a whole different place, right? And it's linked to a couple of things. So one of the things is it's linked to this contract, and so part of this kind of, and there's a couple of different things it's linked to, but one of the things that it's linked to is this contract that you have to be in your integrity, right? In the truth of your path to be able to do this. So it must be, I can hear echo, it must be, you must have the integrity to be able to be the powerful being you are, right? So there is an essence in your being that is very clear. What I saw when we opened your record is that you have this very like silver metal quality. It doesn't mean you're not loving and all that, but it's very clear. It's a very clear energy, right? You have a very pure energy, and this energy is asking you to be the purest light you can be, right? So that was like one of those moments where you were like stopped in your tracks because you were going along a path, but it wasn't your path, right? And it shifted you to come back onto your path, and you have taken the journey to come back to who you are, to recognize and be grounded in that. So that's really good. It's wonderful you've done that. They are saying as well, let me see what else there is. Okay, so one of the things they're saying is you're very hard on yourself. Is that true? Yeah. So it's a key essence. This is a huge thing for all of us to learn as we become greater manifestors, as we become more divine, is to allow the joy, the juiciness, the power of being in joy, and the power of being delighted by who we are, right? Not punishing ourselves. Like that's an old story that we've carried for thousands of years. Like we need to punish ourselves. It's very much the energy that has been. The patriarchal system was about punishment, right? You're a bad person, you have to suffer. You won't go to heaven if you don't suffer. So it's in our psyche, it's in ourselves. It's a very old energy. And so what we're being called to do right now, in you in particular, with this question, is to allow that joy to penetrate every cell. To when you do something that whether it feels like this is the right thing I should have done or not, it's like that energy children have. They're curious. And they just go out and explore. And if something explodes or breaks or something, they're like, oh, okay. And they just go on to something else, right? They're full of the juiciness of life, the potential of creativity. They're not stuck in, oh, I did that wrong, so now I got to punish myself. I'm not allowed to go do something else, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so these are key components, right? The integrity piece is good. You've been doing the work, that's all good. This is the other one, is allowing this juiciness of who you are to be just joyful. Like, who cares, right? It's like, Just do it. It doesn't matter. Don't kind of put yourself on this like pinhead, is what they're saying. It's like, oh, I can't step off my pinhead. Something's going to happen, right? It's going to create some kind of disaster. It's like we got to find the joy in there. Like, wow, this is fun. I can fall off my pinhead. Whee! You know, just go for it. And there's one other part of this, and they're saying that the experience of, you know, having that financial advisor, which is someone you trust, right? Somebody in a position of authority who took away your power in one fell swoop like that, right? And it's like you haven't quite picked up the pieces, and part of it is because it does go back to past life and even this lifetime, right? Like that money, the way you looked at that money, it was your security blanket, right? It was your safety. If I have that, I have everything I need. And
actually, at the time, that money was who I was.
Who you were. Okay.
It wasn't my money. It was, okay, this is who I am. And then when it went away, it was like, okay, who the hell am I now? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I rocked my world a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, and absolutely, right. So was that so intense because it brought back some old stuff from this lifetime as well as stuff from past lifetimes, right? That idea of being a, you know, and this comes back to some of those lifetimes when you were a healer, you know, or people called you a witch or something like that, right? Where you had to rely on the systems of the system, right? Like money. Money is our, you know, of course it's energetic and all that stuff, but it's also a system that our everybody uses to kind of control what's happening, right? It's our barometer of who we are, right? And so it's a very powerful message, and it's almost that hesitation. What if I get there again? What's going to happen, right? So there's that fear of it's going to happen again. I've been there before. You know, it creates that kind of mistrust issue. The main thing here is the mistrust with yourself, right? Like you know, in a way, you're saying I chose that guy and he did that to me, right? But okay, what they're saying is you got to go back to the contract, right? The contract was there that he would do this to you, right? It needed to happen. So when you accept that it needed to happen, you didn't make any mistake by choosing him. You chose exactly the person you should have chose, right?
Right. So I have worked on that trust issue, probably mainly with others, not so much with myself. So if we could just poof some of that away, I'd love that.
Yes, okay, so I've already started clearing up some of that stuff, and the other element that they just want to emphasize to you, that this trust issue is deeper and wider, right? Because it's about trusting the universe, right? Yes. As well, right? Trusting the path that you've chosen, that there are no mistakes, right? Everything happens for a reason.
Right.
And you know, you're highly intuitive, you're highly connected, so you know when you're going, right? Okay, you know the path you need to take. So really, it's kind of, what they're saying is it's not even a trust issue, right? It's just a recognition issue, right? Recognizing. There's a difference, right?
Yes.
Recognizing, like you recognizing the skill of who you are, recognizing that you didn't make a mistake, right? You can't make a mistake. It's impossible, right? It's impossible to make a mistake. It's just choices, right? Okay, so all right, so now we're just going to go back there to one of those messy times that turned out, which was about this whole trust thing. You know, and part of it is what they're saying is trusting your decision about others.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so we're just going to clear up some old story there. Okay, how are you doing?
Good. I felt the shift.
Good. There may still be some more stuff because it's, you know, it's connected to other things, but we did a big healing, so
Cool.
good. Yes.
Anything else they want me to know?
The only thing they're saying right now is to enjoy. Don't make it such a hard task, right? This life of yours. Just, tapped into some of that old goddess energy, so you probably can feel it, brought it forward. But this is about really trusting the joy of being, you know, a divine being. Not about making mistakes or falling, right? Or coloring in the wrong lines.
Yes.
Just being.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm just going to close your records. Thank you, dear Lords, Masters, Teachers of the Akashic Records, the unconditional love, the wisdom, information, healing we've received today. Please help us to return fully into a complete human wholeness in all times, dimensions, and planes. Help us to integrate the information healing received with ease as it goes and look the records. Okay, your records are now closed.
Thank you so much, Jen Duchene. You are a force of nature.
I guess it takes one to know one.
I so appreciate you and what you do in the world and what you have done here on this call. Like, the stuff that you've done here is just absolutely amazing. And I really thank you for the extra time and energy that you spent with us, and the time that you took, and the care that you took to really attend to the people whose records you opened. And I really want to just say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And can we go out with the prayer that you wrote for the Wizards, just to take us out as well, because it's such a powerful prayer.
Absolutely. Do you want to read it?
I think I'll do it, because I have it right in front of me here.
I think that's a great idea.
And remember, to reach Jen, go to JenDuchene.com. That's spelled DUCHENE.com. Or on Facebook, Illuminate8, the numeral 8. Or Jen at JenDuchene.com for email. Mother, Father, Goddess, God, Heavenly Wizards, help me to focus with clarity as I initiate this manifesto in sacred magic today, for my highest good and the highest good of all. Please open my golden eye and heart circle to know and express the truth and integrity of my soul. Give me the courage and steadiness to step fully into aligned visibility and purpose, to activate my divine wizard skills with grace and ease. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sandra and Victoria, for being willing to have your records open. Bless you, and bless everyone who is here and listening to the broadcast later. Farewell.
Farewell. Thank you.
Bye-bye.